New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet has confirmed that the state government will adopt all 28 recommendations handed down by an independent inquiry into the New South Wales flood crisis. The report, prepared by former New South Wales Police Commissioner Mick Fuller and Independent Planning Commission Chair Mary O'Kane, called for residents living in the highest risk areas near Lismore in the north of the state to be relocated urgently. The report also looked at the plan to raise the Warragamba Dam wall by 14 metres to protect residents in the Hawkesbury Nepean area west of Sydney. The authors found raising the dam wall is the single most effective flood mitigation option available, but cost remains the main issue, estimated to be up to $2 billion. Here's the Premier, Dominic Perrottet.
We'll continue to work with the Commonwealth Government in relation to a cost-sharing arrangement on raising the Warragamba Dam wall. It's very clear to me, as you'll see in this report, that that will have a substantial impact on those communities downstream.
Let's bring in Dr Peter Gangemi, who's the Hills Shire Mayor. He's been campaigning for the dam wall to be raised for many years. Thanks for joining us, Peter. This is yet another announcement. It's the right announcement, but haven't we heard premiers talking about this project for almost 20 years, yet a sod has yet to be turned?
Thanks, Chris. And absolutely, I'm 36 years old, and since I've been in primary school, there's been report after report on Warragamba Dam wall, the potential raising of it for flood mitigation, and the time for talking's over. We need action now. If you look at even just the last few years, the 2007 Resilient Valley Resilient Communities report, the EIS last year, and then now this independent inquiry today. In all three of those reports in the last few years, we've seen that the top infrastructure solution in terms of real mitigation for the Hawkesbury Nepean River Valley is the raising of Warragamba Dam wall. So we don't need any more reports. We don't want to see another flood. We need 100% action on this project right now.
Well, cheap really is the answer, isn't it? $2 billion is quite cheap when you consider the tens of billions of dollars of damage that have been caused in the Hawkesbury Nepean by repeated flooding.
Absolutely. And when it comes to flooding along the Hawkesbury Nepean River, the cost of mitigation will always be less than the cost of recovery in terms of these major floods, even in the short term, let alone the long term. We know in a 100-year flood, the potential cost to the community is up to $3 billion. But if the Warragamba Dam wall is raised 14 metres, they predict the cost would be less than a quarter of that, and that would pay for the Warragamba Dam wall raising in one hit. And then you also take into account the potential benefits to flood evacuation routes open for longer with the raising of if the Warragamba Dam wall is raised, and then also you're potentially saving lives out there as well. Absolutely. If the flood levels are lower, because with the Warragamba Dam wall raised 14 metres, in the March 2021 floods, the river levels would have been 5 metres less at Penrith, 3.6 metres less at Windsor. These are game-changing levels that increase safety, help you have flood evacuation routes, and 75% of the homes wouldn't have been flooded either. So it really is a game-changing project. Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. We just need to get the money on the table and get cracking on it. Thanks for joining us, Peter.
Not a problem. Thank you so much.
Peter Gangemi there, who's the Mayor for the Hills Shire west of Sydney. The state government's going to look for federal government money. They ought to get that. The government's been spending so much money the last few years. They ought to get on with some of these projects that are sorely needed.